Stefan Rettich. He is from Germany. He is part of Caro Architects, and he teaches. He has been teaching for a lot of years. He is now head of the urban studies in Kassel, and he's going to present 3 projects that he'll tell you more about. That show this new system. How does that translate into architectural form? So I give the stage to Stefan. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Mr. I'm very glad to be here, and you're providing such an intense and good atmosphere. So thank you for this. As first, and congratulations to the organizers to bring all these people on a sunny Saturday afternoon in the periphery of Plovdiv. And I hope that I can bring some interesting aspects in the discussion. So, as you can see in the slide, and as Mr. mentioned, I started my practical career in Leipzig, so in the post-socialist context. And this post-socialist context was also in the time when we set up our office in the end of the 90s, a shrinking context. So we were really forced to think about what an architect should be in a situation like this. And we developed, or we took some instruments from the art scene, like interventions, and just to transform it for our discipline. So I wanted to show 3 interventions, but before, a little bit like we started in Leipzig, so 15 years or almost 20 years ago. So this was the situation, as you can see. So in the historical center, so the historical housing stock of the 19th century stood empty to 30%. So this was really a big issue. And of course, we tried, we formed also a group, L21, so as you are forming groups and organizing festivals. And just 1-2 things what we did. So we used cultural instruments, like to open this empty shop. We formed an art gallery, but not a classical art gallery. So we went into the neighborhood apartments, and they were not so derelict like the atmosphere outside. And we were collecting their artworks, and you can see on the right-hand side this old man. He painted all these old masters by himself. And then we organized neighborhood exhibitions, and this was a kind of platform where the neighborhood as well as the art scene, the curious art scene, could meet. So this was a kind of start-up in the district Lindenau in Leipzig. And now there are, I would say, more than 10 NGOs dealing with art galleries, art spaces. Students are using empty shops for galleries, for own galleries. And then we tried to learn from each project. So from the last project, it was not a problem to organize the art pieces from the neighborhood. The problem was to get to convince an owner to open his door. Even there was 30% of vacancy. So we developed with L21 a kind of win-win system for the empty housing stock called guard houses. So it was like this, that the municipality gave money to renovate the roofs. The owners had to reject their right to use it on themselves, and we invited guards to use these houses for non-commercial uses. And by this, more than 20 houses could be sold. So what we learned in these first years, that we should intervene in the system, and that this is another photo of these guard houses, that we should intervene in the system, that we have to make a shift in perspective. Yeah, so not planning from top down aesthetics, but looking who's active in the field, and what the producers have already done in the field, and to embed it maybe in projects. So I start with the most formal project. It's most recent and most formal, maybe we're getting old, but I thought, looking at the surrounding of here, that there is a need of some aesthetic embedded public space to create addresses. So this is very, very central in Berlin, post-block Berlin. It's named like the former General Post Office, which now is a communication office. You can also see the Ministry of Finance is there. There is the EWE, a former power plant, the electricity plant. It's now an event place. It was in the 90s techno club, a very famous techno club. And you have a high flyer, you can move up with a balloon to see Berlin from above, and they have surrounding a lot of informal traders. See, no definition of space, so like we could see here outside also. Also the entrance to the event space, EWE, is also not defined. You have a lot of materials, fences, different colors, and you have this carnival of informal traders right to Checkpoint Charlie, with very funny constructions. So we first started that we claimed these are monuments in the sense of Venturi and Scott Brown. So these are everyday monuments, and we have to embed them in kind of new design. And it was also a very low budget design. So I think for the whole project, 150,000 euros. So we had to develop a strategy how to cope with this very low finance. Therefore we looked to London, learning from London, and they paint all black, as you know. So this is a very efficient strategy. If you can't use new material, just use color or black. And then the other things like the mailboxes or telephone boxes, they pop out. Yeah, like also these details from London, like these photo shows from Andreas Goski's photomontage. So if the background is black, all the things that you might think important pop out in the foreground. So the concept basically was the centrality, of course, we could use, learning from London with the color. We had an historical aspect from the General Post Office and also a color, yellow, because this is the official color from the German Postal Office. And we had this variety of monuments of the everyday life, and where there are none, we had to implement new ones. And you can see a range of materials, very cheap materials, also to use kind of ornamentic of the post horn. And we developed for certain spots a kind of information system, so that also these historical aspects, or like the techno club use of the EWE could be communicated. So it's kind of posted, this yellow signs. And this was then the design with more like three squares and a long black line. In this place you can see that we were referring to the Communication Museum and proposed a monument for the telephone box which has vanished in the mobile age, and also creating a kind of a new fence. This is the only, these squares have kind of spatial directions. And to use existing fundaments just for seating the square to the E-work, and also a rearrangement of these flying traders, but to use their monuments. So some photos of the existing thing. It's just been ready. Some bits or parts are missing. It's just ready by now. And also the drubbing on the fundament has been kept with this kind of color transformation. So the second intervention was a very long process I want to introduce, is the open air library in Magdeburg. We started, I think, in 2004 working on that project, and it's been finished 2009. And there was one project where we really were focused as a reference to it. So the project 7,000 Oaks by Joseph Beuys. He introduced the notion of the social sculpture for this project. And it's such a perfect project because the process is so self-telling. A provocation, this heap of stones on the central square. So there was a huge debate, public debate, if this is art. But then he said, no, this is art. For every piece of stone there will be planted an oak in the city of Kassel. And as you can see, when the stone heap went smaller, you knew that more and more trees have been planted. And he addressed in that time ecological awareness. So this was this kind of social sculpture he was addressing, ecological sculpture. You can see these trees, and beside the trees there were one piece of stone. So it's a kind of ecological sculpture created within, I think, 7 years. As we started in Magdeburg, you can see the site is 7 kilometers southward from the center. Tram line, the railway line is a problem. There is an industrial site which is a problem because the district Salke cannot develop to the river Elbe. And there is the main street running from north to south, running through the district. So this was the only remaining shop we found when we started there. And we first made the research what was happening, because 5 years ago, or 7, 8 years ago, there was a supermarket, you could buy shoes and leatherwares, there was a bakery, everything was there. And on the plot on the left-hand side, there was a library, but this library burned already down in the GDR times in the 80s. So, and we thought that this could be a good site for an intervention. So you can see a photo of this old library that burned down. And we claimed I was a library, maybe I could be a library again. So the question was how. So we worked in a shop. That's what we almost do when we to work on site, to get in contact with the people very easily, and to get in contact and to. And the second issue was that we started a campaign for book donations. So this whole process was within 1 week, on the architecture week. And there are lots of books coming in. So we stored in the shop where we worked. And of course there was diverse in the beginning, but the ones on the left-hand side, they are really demanded by elderly women. We could realize. And then we worked with the neighborhoods together on proposals. So we often use models like this because they can orient. So the non-professors can orient on their district. And of course, these you can't take them one-to-one, but there is a kind of neighborhood knowledge. So, for instance, on the right-hand side, you can see a kind of gate towards the street, because there was a footpath running through. So a lot of designs had this gate in it, and also protection towards the street because of the noise. So building material we got from a local beverage trader, and the whole process was organized very strongly together with a neighborhood organization, neighborhood association. And then we had, in the end of the week, everything together, the design together, the books. Then we started with a building process. Took us, I would say, 1.5 days. It was strong work. And then there was a kind of reading festival on the side. And already one day later we demolished the whole thing again. But it was clear that the site was culturally loaded. So see some images. So poetry slam. So just looking at the object in the street. So and then, as mostly we all architects do, we do a kind of architecture week, then we vanish. But the people are still there, and after 1 year, they collected 10,000 books. Yeah, it was 2006. And then we entered again in the process and tried to organize money. So we got money in the end from the central government, from a program called Experimental Urban Design. They also funded the participation process, and again the model was the central tool we worked on. And I always describe the process as a kind of ping pong. Yes, for example, the people from the neighborhood said, "Oh, let's use reused material," and proposed to use telephone boxes to create these things out of it. And said, "Okay, telephone boxes might not work for a library, but the reuse is a very interesting aspect." And then we came in with the idea of this old facade, which comes from Western Germany, from an old department store which was knocked down at the same time. And we got for very cheap money 300 square meters, and we could use this for the process. And in the end, then there was the functions stage, terrace oriented to the stage, a long book wall, some seating units in this wall, and this entrance gate that I mentioned before. Then, of course, blank concrete in this situation was absolutely a good painting background for the graffiti scene. But again, ping pong, so we developed a kind of graffiti weekend and invited the scene from Magdeburg to design the fundament. So then the opening, so this was like the object looked when it was finished. And also the youth was coming in, but not for reading, but they really appropriated the site. But then, I just can give a glimpse of what happened. It was 2011 when the neighborhood association sent me this picture. So what happened was that youth groups, not from the district, but from outside, came to the location every weekend, Friday and Saturday, and abused alcohol and drugs before they were going to the discotheque, and also were vandalizing the site, and with such a violence that the neighbors were afraid to talk to them. So, and what happened is that the neighborhood association every Monday cleaned up the site. So this was a real big problem. It's not as this anymore, I will reflect later on. But what we can see in this kind of shrinking context is there are also social disruptions. So this is a map from the local newspaper where they mapped 30 spots like this. Yeah. So there is obviously a problem in the local policy, the youth policy, which is then what was a bad thing for our project. So on one hand, one could say it was a built utopia. Maybe it was like this, but now you can't share books anymore today when you go there. It's more occupied by young people. Maybe it's not so bad because sometimes processes go in a different direction. On the other hand, the figure is not actual anymore. There are now 40,000 books in an empty store. So it's a kind of informal cultural center, communal center which has been developed. So these processes have a kind of open end. You can't really think it from the end. So and if you give me 2 minutes, do I have? Because I'm a bit late already. Yeah, okay. I will show the third intervention in the traffic system, where we just used the body. We worked there together with theatrical students. Also referring to a project in Kassel, where students of architecture made this temporary zebra stripe, and as a gift to their professor Lucius Burkhardt, as he was retired. And something similar we had in mind when we were doing this. We were looking for certain situations where the car is always in a better position. So, for example, here there was no possibility to cross the street because a lot of cars went there. And we developed with these theater students a kind of choreographics how we can disrupt this traffic thing. So in this situation, they crossed the street in slow motion. I think one crossing lasted three minutes, like that. Another situation where a neighborhood was disconnected from a central park because there is this traffic circle. They always have very difficultly to pass the circle. We said to the students they should queue and run after the people to see how the people have to fight to cross this traffic system. And you can see here. And so this is then also the end of the presentation. This was in reality. Was quite a good instrument to make things visible. Thank you.